So this training is going to cover everything you need to know about the lesson materials that we use here in Elevate Kids. In Elevate Kids, we use a curriculum that's called High Voltage Kids. So this curriculum is super high energy, it's video driven, but there's a lot of really fun teaching that they put into the lessons that we use. Now, if you are a leader who is going to be working in Royal Rangers or Impact Girls, your lesson materials are going to look way different than what we use here in Elevate Kids. So it's important that you connect with the leader in that area and also find out from them the best way to communicate. So how will you know what's going on, and how will you have time to prep for your lessons before you get to church on Wednesday? So it's important that we're staying connected and that we really know what we're teaching and we really have had time to pray about it. One of the important things about our curriculum is that it's Bible-based teaching that we give our kids. Plus, we want to make sure that we're also teaching about the Holy Spirit, but that we're also providing time for the Spirit to move in the lessons that we put together. It is so important as a leader for any of our kids' ministries that you know your material. We definitely don't want to walk in on Sunday morning and just now be looking over what you're teaching the kids that Sunday. Or if you're a Wednesday night teacher, be sure you know your materials before you get to church that week. Take time to look it over throughout the week and pray, because the Holy Spirit will add some really great things. Or you'll have time to think of personal stories that you can add in so that you are able to reach the kids. They connect so well to personal stories and things like that, and really just ways that they connect real life to the stories that we're teaching them here in our kids' services. Another foundational principle about our lesson materials is something we call the power of 10. So in the power of 10, the idea is that whatever lesson materials you are assigned for that week, whether it's Wednesday or Sunday, that you will look over and read over your materials 10 times, so that once you get to the kids and before you start teaching them, you are already very comfortable with what you're teaching, and you won't have to stand there with a paper and reading right off of the sheet. Because there's a big difference in how we teach our kids when we're talking like we know what we're talking about versus if we're just reading right off of a paper. So the power of 10 gives us that confidence that we need to be able to step in front of the kids and teach them with confidence that we know what we're talking about. Another important foundational principle that we use for our Bible stories and any teaching that we have is called using the 5 senses. When we're teaching our kids these stories and we're adding in other elements that are engaging each of their 5 senses, they are much more likely to take away the ideas that we've taught them in that story. So if you think about the story of Noah's Ark, how would that story look different if you sprayed the kids with water, or we showed them how big the ark is when we're outside in our parking lot? What if we got some topsoil that smelled so much like a farm that was something they wouldn't forget? So that can be so fun when we're being creative and coming up with different ways that we can engage their senses as we're teaching them every single week. They're going to be a lot more likely to take things away from that story that they'll never forget, rather than it just being something that we taught them that Sunday and they've already forgot about it by the time they've gotten home. We want to make sure that we're creating a lasting impression on our kids when they're here with us, because we only have a small amount of time with them every single week versus how many hours that they have out in the world at school and things like that. So we want to make sure that what we're teaching them is something that's going to have a lasting effect on their week. So for those of you that are joining our Elevate Kids team specifically, here are a few different parts of what our Elevate Kid high voltage lesson series look like. So every week I will send out an email to everyone on the team that has 2 things. It will have our EK order of service, and it will have our lesson materials for that Sunday specifically. Be sure to look over that email so that you can see if there's anything new that's happening, even if you're working or not. Now, you'll only need to look over the lesson materials if you're working that Sunday. On the EK order of service, it will have the team on there that's working that Sunday, but it will also tell you exactly which spot you're in for that Sunday. So it'll tell you if you're assigned the Bible story, or it will tell you if you're in charge of the What's Up. That way you can go to the lesson materials that are attached and you can take a look and see what exactly it is that you're teaching. And then that's when you will practice your power of 10, making sure that you're reading over your lesson materials 10 times that week so that you know it and it's solid before you get here on Sunday. And also that will help you come up with any really fun ideas for your section. So whether you have the Bible story or something else that you may want to add a little extra to. It's so much fun when we can add that extra bit, and it really takes our kids' ministry to the next level. Here are a few parts of what our lesson material consists of. So in our lesson materials, we have what we call the intro video. That's going to tell the kids all about what we're learning about that morning in Kids Church, and it really gets them excited and pumped up so that they know what to look forward to. Most of our sections have videos that go along with it. So our intro video is something that we'll play that's really fun. We also have our What's Up. The What's Up is the main idea of everything that we're learning about that Sunday. So that when the kids are leaving church that day and their parents are asking them what they learned about in Kids Church, they have more to say than, I don't know. So the What's Up is something that we'll teach them, and throughout the entire class, anytime a leader is on the platform and they shout out, "What's up?" we want the kids to repeat back to us what's up is for the day. Now, the current series actually calls it the What You Gotta Know, but our kids are so used to saying what's up that we just continue to say that, and it's totally fine. Otherwise, we have the power verse. So that's exactly what it sounds like. It's our memory verse for the lesson that Sunday. There's typically a video that goes along with that. And on top of that, some things that we like to do is we like to have the girls stand up and see how loud they can say it versus the boys then will stand up and then we'll declare a winner. Or we'll have kids volunteer to see if they can say it without looking at the screen. But then sometimes we also like to see who can say it in a funny voice, who can say it the quietest, who can say it the loudest. So we try to get them to repeat it as many times as we can, basically, so that they can remember that power verse and that memory verse even after they leave here in Kids Church. A few other parts are the Bible story. So that one is one of the funnest parts of our lessons because we can use the 5 senses. There's also pictures that will already come through the screen for you. That's where we get to be creative and add extra things. So what else can we do for them to touch? What can we do for them to smell? And all of those things. Otherwise, the main part of what we teach about is the call to action. That's the main part of our lessons, and that's typically broken up into 3, 4, or 5 different sections throughout our morning. Typically, those sections, I like to have different teachers teaching each one of those so that we're really maximizing the attention span that we have of our kids. We know that every kid has about 1 minute for their age, but it really boils down to about 5 minutes. So unless we're changing stuff up, we're changing leaders, we're having them move and do stuff, we're gonna reset that attention span every time that we change something. So we try to keep them really engaged so they're not feeling bored or they're off in space somewhere else, okay? So that is one of the big things that we try to do to keep them focused throughout the lessons. Now, one of the biggest things that we do to help keep them focused is using a microphone. So in Elevate Kids, we have 2 microphones that we use, and I understand that when you first get up here, it might be hard or it might be uncomfortable using a microphone in front of the kids, but this is key. It's important that our voice is the most prominent voice in the room, and that's what we do by using the microphone. We're drawing their attention up here to the platform, to whoever is speaking, because their voices are many. And so if we aren't using something like this, then our voice is going to get washed in with everything else. So when we use the microphone, we're really drawing their attention in. So as you work more in Elevate Kids, you'll get more used to using the microphone. So we always use it. There's no exceptions unless it's broken or you don't have any hands or something like that. But we typically, anytime you're speaking from the platform, I want you to use the microphone. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video about our lesson materials here at Southgate Church. If you have any questions regarding any of this, please let me know. I'm always happy to help. Thanks, guys.